Hi, I'm Sunni, and this is my podcast, Creator, Created, Creating. Short and sweet mindset shifts for intentional life creation. Sunni's weird and wonderful worldviews. Today I imagined an episode of like a show, and it's like my show, and it's all about my really weird and wonderful worldviews that are totally weird and probably really like crazy to some people. And I endeavor to share more of my wonderful, weird worldviews with you that I have been previously afraid to share with people because they would judge me for my worldview. But I'm just going to share them because I feel like it. Okay, so I was listening to a thing today about, so somebody was talking about basically all the poison in all of the food and all of the water. All of the poison in the food and the water. Now, I'm not getting into whether that's true or not true, and we know that's true. But I'm not going into that. I just want to share with you a little conversation that I had with myself as I was listening to that, and just share my mind. So here is a conversation kind of like between my mind and my soul self. So they're talking about that, and then my impulse from my body was, I want to turn this off. This isn't good for me. I don't need to hear this. This isn't for me. And my mind argued, of course. My mind is like, that's crazy. You need to hear this. You need to take this in. You need to be aware. You need to be on the lookout. You need to know, right? Like the same argument with news and stuff. So I did turn it off. And I said, okay, I'll turn it off. I'll work with you, mind. I'll turn it off, but let's have a discussion about this, me and you. And so that's what I did. So I went to my journal and I wrote, so I actually hold a belief in myself that I never tell anybody. I never tell anybody this belief. In fact, I don't think I've voiced it to anyone ever. But I hold a belief in myself that it doesn't actually matter what kind of food or water that I ingest or how clean it is, because everything is God, and I am only ever God ingesting God. Okay. Cuckoo. Everything I take in benefits me in some way. And what is important is my inner state and my state of awareness and my connection to all that is and peace. My state of peace, my state of inner peace. That's what's important. That's my belief. Okay? I hold that belief. I believe that belief serves me. But my mind is like, that is batshit crazy. And that does not even make any logical sense. There are literal poisons out there, babe. Things that you would ingest that would kill you. And then my soul self is like, yeah, but if I ingest those things, then it must be my time to experience that. And until then, things will happen, including my own awarenesses, that keep me from ingesting those things. Besides, we intentionally take poisons all the time in this culture. No, maybe not so much as we get older and wiser, but also what's poison to one thing is literally medicine to another thing. And what's medicine to one thing is poison to another thing. So I just let all of that flow and be kind of like God's business, the universe's business, source's business. And I just trust. I just trust and know that I will know what I need to know when I know it. And then my mind comes back and is like, are you freaking kidding me? You are an idiot with that shit. You need to be aware of what is good for you and what is bad for you. And you need to be taking care of that shit daily. And my soul is like, it is being taken care of daily, all by itself. And I noticed things that were poison that I was ingesting before in my life, previous periods in my life, I stopped ingesting when the rest of me was ready and on board and in alignment with stopping ingesting those things. And until then, everything that I'm ingesting right now is fine until it's not fine. And when it's not fine, it changes. When it's not fine for me anymore, it just changes. And then my mind is like, yeah, right. That is how people die of all these things that they could have prevented, like heart attacks and stuff, if they would have just stopped eating that thing or drinking that thing or smoking that thing or whatever. All of that, right? And my soul is like, yes. And that simply shows their decision, perhaps, that they didn't want to live as much as they wanted to live with that particular comfort, or that they didn't want to live without that particular comfort in that way, and they weren't ready to. They were not ready to live in this life without that comfort. Their soul was not ready for that. And I respect their choice. Also, perhaps they believed that thing would kill them. Or perhaps it was the stress that killed them. Or because someone else told them that would kill them, and they really, really, really believed that. Because I notice there are always exceptions to the rule. Eaters, drinkers, and smokers who lived longer than the healthiest ones out there. People who smoked till they were 108. I've seen these people on the news. There's always outliers, is my point. So I don't believe that it's all about that. I think it's more about our deeper soul decision of how and how long we want to be here, how we want to be in this world, what we want to experience in this lifetime. We're choosing that all the time, and how long we want to be here. And I think that comes from a deeper level that not all of us can see or understand, even consciously with our minds. And my mind is like, maybe. I guess I can kind of see that. Okay, whatever. But do you really think that belief, that original belief, serves you? Don't you think that it would be better to believe what all these other people believe about all of this super threatening chemicals and things out there in the food and the water supply and all types of foods and all this? Don't you think that would serve you more? And my soul self is like, I do think that my original belief serves me, yeah. It serves me because it makes me not stressed or worried, and it helps me to not take on the identity of someone who is actively, constantly defending herself from poisons and being on the lookout for poisons and defending myself from poisons and searching my environment for poisons. And it allows me to just navigate my life based on what feels good instead. And if something that I used to eat stops feeling good, then I can just switch when my whole system is in agreement on that switch. But until my whole system is in agreement on that switch, it's just my mind judging my body and soul for where I should be. But I'm not there. This belief also allows me to believe that I am someone who is capable of living a long and healthy life, whether there are poisons in things or not. And that serves me in creating that life because I believe that perception creates my reality. I know it does. I've experienced that way too many times to doubt that. It also serves me in not beating myself up anymore for my choices, in having compassion for myself and whatever it is that I have access to at that time to ingest. So let's say that I lost all of my money and I had to just ingest whatever was available to me, whether it was like full of inorganic crap or not. So by access, I mean, I don't just mean financially, but I mean emotionally, spiritually, and otherwise. I might know that I should eat more leafy greens, but until I'm actually eating more leafy greens, that is just a judgment on me, and that judgment is experienced as toxicity and poison in my body. That's poison. And I would rather have the poison of stress and conditional love out of my system than the so-called poison of like bread and cheese. And I trust with my whole heart that when my mind and body and soul are all in cohesion and alignment and they are ready and willing to eat more leafy greens, I will be eating them. And I'll know, oh, this is the time in my life where I eat more leafy greens. Cool. But until then, I'll be in love with myself. I was struggling to say that because what I mean is inside of love. Every time I say in love, people will hear in love like we think of being in love with someone else. But I mean in love, inside of love, inside myself, instead of in the toxicity of self-judgment. And no, I don't think it would be better to believe what other people seem to believe about all of the poisons out there in everything. Personally, though I 100% respect their personal opinion and their views and their choices for themselves. I 100% respect that. I 100% believe that's real for them. And I don't think, and I'm not, and real in general, but I just don't think that it would be better for me because that would put me into a hypervigilant state of fixating on the problems, and I don't want to do that to me. That would be more poisonous to me personally, much more poisonous. So I need to let myself know that I am safe no matter what. I need to let myself know that I can trust, and that knowing and that feeling of safety and trust will lead me to the right choices for me eventually and always. Always. I've seen that in my own life again and again. And that any bad habits that aren't serving me anymore will naturally fall off. Or they will be redefined and be revealed not to be bad at all, but just something I previously misjudged. But either way, I just kind of hold this view that it's all okay. It's all okay, and it's all going to be okay. And I know that might piss a lot of people off because they take some things very, 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 very seriously. But taking things that seriously doesn't work for me. That feels like poison to my body, mind, and soul. So I'm going to listen to myself. And my mind is like, yeah, but isn't that like spiritually bypassing? And like this world is like tangible and real and matter. It's physical matter and it's real and you need to do shit about it. And my soul is like, I'm also real and I am doing shit about it. I am doing what feels right to my personal being. Even if or when others might think that's crazy. And even if I eventually look back and say, that was crazy. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's way more important for me to love myself as and where I am and to not take everything so deadly seriously and to not be on the lookout and defense against threats all the time. That's poison. That's my poison. So to someone else, it's a physical poison in the food and the water supply. And I salute those people because they are making our food and water cleaner. I love them. And I'm going to be the one in in the puzzle pieces of this world, because I also have this belief that every single being plays their little role in this puzzle of this reality, and they have their piece. And my piece is bringing this internal, addressing the internal poison and shifting from the inside out. So removing internal toxicity and poison from myself, like judgments and defense and war, going to war with the reality about stuff, that's my zone. And when I clear that up inside of me, it will naturally clear up what's happening on the outside. And other people work better by clearing it up on the outside and then moving inward. Like that clearing up on the outside moves inward, and other people are clear it up on the inside and move outward. And I love and respect all of those puzzle pieces and how they operate. We're all different and we all play our part, and we all get to decide what's poison to us and what's healthy to us. So my version of healthy is not judging my food, not judging my water, and not judging and not being afraid of every single thing that I put in my body and having to be hyper vigilant about that. That's mine. So that's my little share. That's my weird and wonderful worldview of Sunni today. And if you have thoughts about that or want to share if that resonated with you in any way, you can do that at sunnychapman.com/ask. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for joining me today. And if you'd like to find out more about me and my work, you can find me at sunnychapman.com.